You've been there before, a productivity crash that leaves you feeling stuck. Research shows that 70% of people experience a significant decline in motivation after a setback. Have you ever found yourself on a roll, accomplishing task after task, only to suddenly hit a wall and feel like you've lost all momentum? Maybe you were working towards a big project deadline, or trying to establish a new habit, but somehow you got derailed. This is what we call a productivity crash. It can be frustrating and demotivating, especially when you feel like you've fallen behind. Welcome to our video on getting back on track after a productivity crash. We've all been there. You're cruising along, tackling your to-do list with ease, and then suddenly, you hit a wall. Maybe you've had a few late nights, or a personal issue has arisen, and before you know it, your productivity has taken a nosedive. It's easy to get discouraged and feel like you'll never get back on track, but the good news is that it's completely possible to bounce back. Let's take the example of an athlete who's suffered an injury. They don't give up on their sport, they take the time to recover, and then they come back stronger than ever. So, you've experienced a productivity crash. Don't worry, it's more common than you think. Even the most organized and driven individuals can fall off track sometimes. The key is to acknowledge the setback and create a plan to get back on track. Let's consider a concrete example. Suppose you're a freelance writer who normally writes 2,000 words per day, but due to a family emergency, you've missed your daily writing schedule for a week. To get back on track, start by setting small, achievable goals, such as writing 500 words per day for the first few days. Self-care is also a critical factor in maintaining productivity. When you're not taking care of your physical and mental health, it's easy to feel drained and unmotivated. Make sure to get enough sleep, exercise regularly, and eat a balanced diet. Also, prioritize activities that bring you joy and help you relax, such as reading, meditation, or spending time with loved ones. Now that we've discussed identifying the causes of your productivity crash and creating a plan to get back on track, it's essential to focus on building momentum. This can be achieved by setting small, achievable goals for yourself. For instance, if you're a writer, your goal might be to write 250 words per day, or if you're a student, it could be to study for 30 minutes without any distractions. These small wins will help you regain your confidence and motivation. Another strategy is to create an accountability system, such as sharing your goals with a friend or joining a study group. Once you've acknowledged the crash and taken steps to address the immediate causes, it's time to refocus on your long-term goals. This is a critical phase because it's easy to get bogged down in the specifics of what went wrong and lose sight of what you're working towards. For example, let's say you're a freelance writer who had been consistently meeting deadlines, but then experienced a crash due to burnout. You might feel like you've fallen behind and that your goals are now out of reach. However, instead of getting caught up in feelings of guilt or frustration, try to take a step back and remind yourself why you started working towards those goals in the first place. Now that you've learned how to recognize the signs of a productivity crash and strategies to get back on track, it's time to take action. Start by implementing one new habit this week, whether it's waking up 30 minutes earlier to meditate or dedicating an hour each day to focused work. Share your progress with a friend or accountability partner to increase your motivation. Remember, getting back on track takes time and effort, but with persistence and the right mindset, you can achieve your goals and maintain a consistent level of productivity over time. Getting back on track after a productivity crash requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to learn from your mistakes. Remember, everyone experiences setbacks, even the most productive individuals. To avoid future crashes, identify the warning signs, such as burnout, lack of motivation, or procrastination. Develop strategies to overcome these obstacles, like taking regular breaks, setting realistic goals, and prioritizing self-care. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed, try breaking down large tasks into smaller, manageable chunks, and focus on making progress, not perfection. By implementing these tactics and maintaining a growth mindset, you'll be better equipped to handle challenges and stay on track towards achieving your goals.